They say if you don't look back at your car after you park it, you bought the wrong car. As such, it needs to look boggy and it needs to make you look boggy. If you have a cinematic montage of your car on your phone, then you really have bought the right car. Now, this right here is the most rugged-looking SUV that you can buy for under 2.4 million pesos. But is this worth your money? Let's find out. Now, this right here is the most rugged-looking SUV that you can buy for under 2.4 million pesos. The BAIC B40 is a 5-seater off-roader SUV that takes inspiration from the likes of the Jeep Wrangler when it comes to styling. Now, like the Jeep Wrangler, the B40 is modular, and by that I mean you can remove the roof, you can remove the doors, and you can even remove the windshield if you want to. Like the Jeep Wrangler, the windshield of the B40 also folds forward for a true mud-in-your-face experience, if you're into that. Even when you fold the windshield and you remove the doors and the roof, you're still left with a beefy roll cage, so you're still protected from rollovers. The styling looks boxy, old school, and utilitarian. You got these exposed hinges on the doors and also on the hood. You got these exposed screws all over the car. You got these wide and boxy fender flares over here. The door opener looks old school. You also have this keyhole over here, which you don't see on a lot of modern cars. Also, you don't close the door of the B40 softly. You'll have to slam it like so, otherwise it won't close properly. Now, it may look old school, but it has some touches of modernity here. Like you get these LED headlamps with LED DRLs. You also have DRLs over here and LED fog lamps. You get power folding side mirrors with repeaters, and your repeaters are down here. Over here you get BAIC signature grille with these U-shaped elements. You have the BAIC logo at the center. Now, this steel bumper is not stock, it's an aftermarket accessory. These are 17-inch aftermarket wheels. Now, I believe the stock wheels of the B40 are also 17 inches, but the tires are definitely bigger here. This comes with 265 70 R17 Nitto Grappler all-terrain tires. Yeah, you got disc brakes on all 4 corners. The calipers are finished in red. You also got an aftermarket roof rack over there, an aftermarket ladder, but the rest of the car is stock mechanically. You got stock suspension and a stock engine. Now, as for the suspension, unlike the Jeep Wrangler, you get independent suspension at the front, you get double wishbones, and at the back you get a rigid axle. Okay, so at the front you get a double wishbone setup. The suspension arms are quite long and they're also quite beefy. I believe they're made of steel. Also, the bushings look quite beefy. You have a pretty thick CV axle over here. As you can see, you have plenty of space here between the upper control arm and the tire, so you can fit thicker tires here if you want to. The B40 is based on a ladder frame chassis, so it's a legit truck and not a crossover. It has a part-time 4x4 system with a Borg-Warner transfer case. It has front and rear differential lockers. It comes with an 8-speed ZF transmission, which is the same brand that BMW uses on their cars. Now, the engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo diesel Alcan, the same engine that powers the Photon Thunder. It puts out 161 horsepower and 380 Newton meters of torque. Here at the back, it looks very much like a military Jeep, especially in this green color. Now, you got these rectangular LED tail lamps over here. You got a rear wiper, you got a rear-mounted rear spare tire. This steel bumper over here is aftermarket. Now, the rear door of the B40 is split in 2 parts, and to open it, you have to do this. First, you open the bottom part, like so, and then you open the glass part, like so. Now, just one minor complaint, I wish they added a damper here or a lock, because It tends to close on its own when you're parked on an incline. Cargo space in the B40 is almost a perfect square. It has 532 liters of space with the second row up and 965 with the seats down. More than enough space to fit our sponsor for today. Introducing the Atto Sport Mobility Scooter. The world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into two parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock absorbing flat free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system, be free to travel anywhere, land, sea or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life. On the inside, the B40 Ragnar does not look as rugged or as boxy as the outside. It looks like a relatively premium interior. So you get soft touch materials on the dashboard. This over here is soft touch. This is soft touch right here. You get these leather wrapped kilted inserts and leather wrapped armrests. The seats are leather wrapped. Both seats are heated. The driver's seat is power adjustable. The passenger seat is manually adjustable. You also get adjustable lumbar support for the driver. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. You don't get paddle shifters here. You have buttons here for your cruise control and also for your audio controls. You have these circular aircon vents over here which resemble the BAIC logo. Also, you have your start-stop button at the center, surrounded by your 4x4 controls. So you have 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low, like most 4x4 vehicles. But this also comes with a front differential lock as well as a rear differential lock. Now, a lot of 4x4s come with a rear differential lock, but not a lot come with a front differential lock, especially at this price. Thankfully, also we get a lot of physical knobs and buttons here. Like you get physical knobs for adjusting the temperature. This has dual zone climate control, and you get physical knobs for each climate zone. The fan speed control is also a knob. You have your audio control buttons over here. You get a volume control knob over here. All the important controls have corresponding physical knobs and buttons, which I like. Now this comes with an electronic parking brake with an auto hold, which is definitely not old school. You get an electronic shifter over here. To put it in reverse, push it forward. To put it in drive, put it back. This has a manual mode. To put it in manual mode, just push it to the right like so, and then you can upshift by pushing it forward and downshift by pulling it back. The tech here is decent, although it's not class leading. You get this 10-inch infotainment screen. You don't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You also don't get a 360 camera, but you get a pretty decent reverse camera with active guidelines. You also get a fully digital instrument cluster. Now, as for storage, the glove box is decently sized. It's also dampened. You have storage here for your phone, although that's not a wireless phone charger. You have 2 cup holders over here. You have this armrest, which is split at the center. You also have a USB port down there. It's not very deep, but it's very long. Now, like I said before, you can remove the roof of the B40. So to remove the 2 panels at the front, just undo these latches over here. Okay, so space back here at the second row is pretty good. I have quite a bit of tea room over here. That's about 6 inches. Headroom is pretty decent. I have about 2.5 inches, although it looks like you have less headroom than you actually do because of this low-hanging roll bar over here. In terms of toys, you have 2 air vents over there. You have a bit of storage over here, and when you open it, it reveals an AC power outlet. You have map pockets on each seat. You have this foldable armrest with 2 cup holders. It's also pretty wide and nicely padded. You have plenty of grab handles over here. Now the B40 Ragnar comes with a 2-liter diesel engine, but it doesn't sound like it. At below 2,000 RPM, the engine is barely audible, and the noise that you hear sounds quite refined. It doesn't have that characteristic diesel clatter, at least not until you get to the higher RPMs. Now in terms of power, it has 380 Newton meters of torque, but much of that torque is at the higher RPMs. So when you're coming from a complete stop, you don't feel that power so much. You have to wait for the turbos to spool to feel the power. But yeah, once you're at a decent speed, overtaking is pretty easy. I wouldn't do it here because that's a blind corner over there. Anyway, the steering is actually relatively precise. It feels better than the steering of the Jeep Wrangler. So unlike the Jeep Wrangler, this does not have a recirculating ball steering. It's a standard rack and pinion. It feels relatively precise. There's very little dead zone at the center, and it goes where you point it. Also, for a car of this size and of this type, body roll is surprisingly not so bad. Now usually I review cars in their stock form, but this unit that I got came with a few minor but common modifications. Now people who buy vehicles like this probably have intentions of modifying them anyway, so this could be a good reference for how the B40 would look and perform with these popular modifications. The Nitto Grappler all-terrain tires are better than stock for off-roading, and surprisingly they also perform well on road. Now would I go with the size? Yes, even if just for looks alone, but I wouldn't go much bigger without changing the gear ratios, as I could already feel a significant performance hit with these bigger tires. Now aside from its macho looks, you buy a vehicle like the B40 for its off-road capabilities. You can go to remote places and feel confident that you're gonna make it back. The B40 has an approach angle of 37 degrees, which is more than most 4x4 SUVs in this price bracket. It officially has a ground clearance of 210mm, but it seems like it has more than that. The departure angle is 31 degrees, and the breakover angle is 23 degrees. Now this trail over here does not present a challenge to the B40, but it's all that our time and budget permits us to do for now. Perhaps in the future, we'll do a proper off-road video that does justice to the B40 Ragnar. The BAIC B40 sells for 2,368,000 pesos. That's less than half the price of a base model Jeep Wrangler Sahara. The Nitto Grappler tires sell for about 11,000 pesos each, so add about 44,000 if you want this aggressive setup. The BAIC B40 is a pretty capable off-roader. But like most cars, it is not perfect. It lacks tech that's standard on some of its competitors. Power could be better, but it's the kind of car that would make you take a second glance after parking it. And the moment you look back, everything is forgiven because it just looks so freaking good.